Good morning, everyone. It's Stephen Williams, founder and president of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, I got some good stuff for you. We're going to talk about visualization. I'm going to share with you something that I do every morning to get myself in the right frame of mind to project what I want my life to be. I'm going to tell you how to do that, and I want you to start doing it when it comes to your credit and debt. And then also we're going to talk about we're going to answer some questions that people had uh, from YouTube. And we're also going to go over the debt that's being released into the market. And we're going to also talk about some changes that are happening with FICO, with the FICO scoring system. Remember, a couple of years ago, they had made a change, and now they're like flip-flopping backwards. So please go ahead and like the video. Please like the video because you know my content is going to be good. So please like it, and then we're going to get right into it. So let's hop right into it. Let me tell you, visualization is like the number one thing that you can have moving for you in your life. Because when you visualize, let me put it this way, probably I would say 99.9% of the things that you have in your life, you had some sort of visualization for it, where you actually put it in your mind that this is what you want. You kept either consciously or subconsciously thinking like, that's mine, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that. And then it materialized to you. When I talk about how people can make themselves better, or how we can improve our life, how we can make more money, how we can repair our credit and get out of debt. The reason why most people never get to that is because they never picture themselves being out of debt. They never picture themselves fully with good credit. What they'll usually do is they'll do something to have good credit. They'll do something to start getting out of debt, but they don't change the visualization of their situation. And I know that that's hard to do because you're like, okay, Steve, I have a mountain of debt, but you want me to picture that I don't have debt. But that's exactly what you have to do, because listen to me closely. Because when you're out of debt, you become that person. You're that person. Think about it this way. This is a great analogy that I came up with. If you are a person that don't have mountains of debt, if you're a person that has a lot of money, would you think to picture yourself without having money? Would you think and picture yourself on a daily basis having piles of debt? It works both ways. That's why you can have people that become successful, and maybe they had people that were managing them, they were doing a lot of stuff for them, but they were like a performer. And then all of a sudden, when those people were gone, they were broke. They couldn't, could barely survive. And that's because they never really pictured themselves managing that side of their life. They might have been like, I'm going to write music, or I'm going to play sports, or I'm going to, whatever business or profession that they're doing. They pictured themselves 100% committed to that, but not committed to their finances. So when those people that manage their finances either failed them or were, not needed anymore, they went backwards. And that's because they never changed their subconscious and their conscious thinking about themselves on the financial level. So what you have to do on a daily basis, and I know that this will probably be hard at the beginning, but you must do it. You must trust me on this, because this is something that I've done my entire life. As a matter of fact, I started doing it at the age of 15. And when I learned that I really separated myself from a lot of people, friends and family, because I knew a little bit about what I wanted to do in my life. When I was able to start visualizing and reprogramming my subconscious mind, something told me to get away from a lot of people, and I did do that. I did. Things didn't line up exactly the way that I wanted them to while I was, after I graduated out of high school and start trying to uh, become the business person that I am today. But I had always had that picture. And one day I'm going to show you my entire office. There's a crazy thing that I had noticed years ago when I bought this office building. A lot of things had to go right when my wife and I put in the offer to buy this building. But something else subconsciously happened that made it like this building was 100% for me. And I'm going to be real quick with this story. I was in the United States Army. I went into the Army at the age of, I think right before I turned 18 years old. Went into the United States Army. And when we would walk into the barracks, you could look to the left, and the first sergeant and the captain's office, and I forgot what they used to call, but the person that would be at the front desk. It's like there was three desks. The first one was like a regular soldier, usually us, the privates, and the E4s, and maybe a sergeant there, not an upper rank sergeant. And then there would be the first sergeant, which is who is in charge of the troops, and then it would be the captain, who is in charge of all of us. And it was in rows. And for years, when I would walk in, something subconsciously melted into my mind and said, when I'm in charge of my business, I'm going to set my office up to be just like this. Because what it was the private or the low or the E4 or the sergeant that was at the first desk was like the person that you had to talk to get to the first sergeant. And then you had to get to the first sergeant, you had to talk to the captain. And lo and behold, if you ever come to my office here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there are 3 desks before you can get to my desk. Before you can get to my office. You can't even come straight to my office. It's set up exactly how I had it in my mind, and I didn't even think about it until everything was set up. My wife had, we painted, got the building, was in it for a number of years. And I had was just one day thinking, and I was looking at my picture. I got a picture of myself here when I was in the military hanging up on the wall. And it just popped in my head, and it was like, subconsciously, I kept picturing myself when I said, when I have my company, I'm going to have 2 desks, and they're going to have to go through both of those people to get to me, because that's what we had to do to get to the captain. It's like the first person, if they couldn't solve it, then it got to the next person. And if that person couldn't solve it, and that person is going to do everything possible to solve it before it gets to the other person. And that's exactly how my company is set up. And now that's for my publishing company. For the credit repair shop, the same thing is set up. I have, on the other side of the office, there's 2 desks, and people have to make it through those 2 people before they can ever come to me with a question. I won't say that it doesn't happen, because I get asked a lot of questions throughout the day. My wife was saying, how do I answer all of the YouTube questions? And I was like, well, come to the office and you'll see how many questions I answer. That's a piece of cake there. One time I was counting, and I stopped counting, that in one day, I'm talking about just from employees, probably over 100 questions were asked of me. And my wife was like, how in the hell do you even make it through a day like that? And what I ended up doing is I started pushing harder on my employees, saying, look through your training material, look through things that I've answered before you come to me and ask me those again. because it was like just crazy. All right, well, now let's get into it. Visualization. What you have to do is you have to visualize what you want, the end result, and you must picture yourself having that end result. You cannot say in 6 months I'm going to have this. You cannot say my goal in 6 months is to make $5,000 extra per month. You must picture yourself having it. Now you can write a goal saying that, but you must visualize yourself in the now. The subconscious mind and what we see with our eyes, which is really recorded. There's what's called a third eye. That is what you actually see. What you see from your eyes is what your perception of life is, what you see with your eyes. Because I could look at something and you could look at something and you would say, well, it looks totally different to me. And most of the things that look the same to you and I are things that we've been told or we've seen, and we've been told to see it that way. Because if you just look at the news and look at what one group of people think over another group of people, when you have a situation happen, it's two totally different mindsets. So every day when you wake up, if we're going to keep this focus on credit and debt, you cannot focus that you have bad credit. You cannot focus that you have collection. You cannot focus that you have too much debt. What you must focus on is you must focus on how you will feel and how you will go about in your day when all of that stuff is done. Write it down on a piece of paper. Just like you eat food, just like we drink coffee. You must. Hold on a second. I'm going to answer a quick call. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video. But what you have to visualize yourself with the goal already accomplished. If you don't do that, it's not going to happen, or it's going to happen a lot slower. You won't feel the difference. But just like we drink coffee, just like we eat food every day, you need to do this every day. This is feeding your mind. We take the time to watch TV. We take the time to take a bath. Do that. I write mine down in this black notebook and I read it in the morning. And what I do is I read them and I visualize. Read and visualize over. And when I visualize, I also put the feeling on how it feels to have that. How does it feel to have a lot of money? How does it feel to not have to worry about credit and debt? How does it feel? Because you have to get it in that feeling also, or it won't really start to materialize the way you want it. Also, you have to trust that it's going to happen. A lot of people don't want to be disappointed, and a lot of people don't even want to be disappointed to themselves. That's crazy that we say that, but that's what stops a lot of people from even trying, is that they're afraid of disappointing themselves, doing something for themselves and afraid of the disappointment to themselves, rather than just saying whatever happens, but I'm going to trust that what I visualize for myself, that what I want will happen. All right, well, let's get into it. And remember, I look up because it's my employees. They start coming in. Okay, we got the debt that's being released in the market. Remember, I do not say the company name because I don't want to get it flagged here. But this is one large financial institution that got in some trouble a couple of years ago, where their workers were filling out credit cards for people that were either dead or did not really want them. Well, they got $2.2 million in credit card debt being charged off. Original charge-off date 2009. Average balance $5,500. Sale price $2,600 that they're selling this for. Past statute of limitations for all 50 states, 10-year statute of limitations. So if you get anything from a well-known bank or a collection agency that's saying that they're collecting it for a well-known bank, it's a national bank, look at your credit reports, look at the original charge-off date. Obviously, they haven't done a judgment or anything because they would not be able to sell it this way. All you have to do is simply send them a letter saying it's according to the laws in my state, this is debt that you're trying to collect is past statute of limitations. I request that you cease all collection activities, and I will be reporting this to the proper authorities in my state, and the proper authorities in each state, either Department of Financial Institution or State Attorney General's office, someone that handles the banking regulations in your state is who you would send that to. All right, the next one, another well-known bank, a combination, 3 well-known banks. $6.6 million original charge-off date, 6/09, past statute of limitations, average balance $4,353. They're selling the whole amount for what if they collected one account, they're selling the whole amount for $5,000. 3,061 accounts. The other one here was only 400 accounts. Another one, a combination, well-known banks, department store that's in a lot of trouble right now. $4.4 million, 1,400 accounts. Charge-off date 2009, past statute of limitations. Average balance $2,400, $10,000 they're selling that for. Group of jewelry stores, national. All of these look like national jewelry stores. $1.5 million. Charge-off date 2014, so it's not past statute of limitations for all states, but it could be for your state. There's 1,932 accounts. Average balance is only $805. $7,700 they're selling those accounts for. Well-known banks, lenders. Whoa. This is, just so you know what they're selling this account for, is 0.000.00056 per customer. That's a penny is 0.01. A penny is 0.01. $20 million, charge-off date 2006, past statute of limitations. 5,000, over 5,000 accounts, average balance $3,900, sell price $8,000 for all of that. Past statute of limitations. Past statute of limitations. They even wrote in here, you only need 3 accounts to pay this in full. You get 3 fools to pay their money for something that's past statute of limitations. You make all your money back. Be a fool to buy that. I think this might be a repeat of another one. Let's see. Oh, I missed one on here. Okay. Sorry about that. I missed one. We got 3. Yeah, I missed one. We got 3 more well-known credit card providers, national banks, 2,200 accounts, $4.6 million. Charge-off date 6/09 for these two. They look like they're getting rid of a whole bunch of 09 debt, past statute of limitations, selling it for $3,500. Another group for 2.6 million. Yeah, these are all new. A lot is being released. $2.6 million, 1,200 accounts. Charge-off date was 6/09 on this. So all of these banks releasing this out. They're just trying to sell this debt. And then this was a smaller one. More jewelry stores, $800,000. Charge-off date 2014. Average balance $927. They're selling it for $4 grand. These jewelry accounts. Past statute of limitations for most states. We do have a few states that it's not. Okay, so now please like the video. Please like the video. What it does is it helps us be able to help other people. When you like the videos, it helps you be involved. And we're all a community on this channel, and it helps other people get exposed to this information, because this right here is where everything starts. When you get the letter in the mail and they're trying to collect the money from you, and you know that it is past the statute of limitations, how will you know that? You can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com, or you can look it up online. What is the statute of limitations for contract law in my state? Once you know that, you need to get copies of your credit reports. You need to get a full copy. If you look on the free report places, you're not going to get the information that you need. Please go to my website. The link is below. The number 3scores.com. Get them. You need to look at those charge off dates, because that's when you'll know when this account originally charged off, not what the debt collector tries to say, not how they try to spin it around and say that it charged off on a certain date or whatever. Don't pay them any money. You just look at that and then you respond accordingly. If it's past statute of limitations, you don't need to go into anything about validation. You just simply notify them that you know that they're trying to collect the debt that is past the statute of limitations, and you put them on notice. 100%, you say 99.9, but 100%, if you do it the way that I tell you, it's going to go away. Now, let's get into the changes with Fico. A couple of years ago, because the scores were so low for people, collections, judgments, late pays, they said, the lenders, according to their scoring system, they cannot make as many loans as they need to make, because everything is done with AI, artificial intelligence. So when they fed the credit information into the AI, because of what they put in there, it was like, we can't approve these people. We're not. So what they did is they changed the scoring system, and they said that if you have collections, if it was past a certain amount of time, but unresolved collection, not talking about a resolved collection, we're talking about an unresolved collection. If it's on your reports, but it's been there for a little bit of time, or if you had a judgment, but that's been over, dealt with over a period of time. If you have late pays, if it's been a period of time, it's okay. That they were going to allow those scores to go ahead and move up a little bit, because it was going to help their lender, their customers who are lenders, banks, credit card companies. When they did the scoring, they got pulled of records, their AI software would allow more loans to go through. Well, lo and behold, a couple of years later, now I guess they got too many loans, or it's been too good for them, or something. I don't know. Something has changed. You can look it up online if you want. You don't have to take my word for it, but you should take my word for it, because I do the research for you. I just saw a Market Watch article trending today, and it's stating that they're going to change it back to the old way. Plus, it's going to be a little bit harsher than it was the old way. If you have too much debt, they've added where they're going to go back to the way it was if you have collections, judgments, and late pays, that they were going to, it's going to pull your score down. But they're going to actually do something even more, and it's going to separate good credit people from bad credit people even more. They're going to look at how much debt you have, how much debt that you're carrying, even if you're making the payments on it. Even if you're making the payments on it and you're struggling to make those payments, they're going to start counting your risk factors. What they've done is they got the normal risk factors already placed into the system, which is if you have collections, judgments, late pays. Now they're going to throw back in there the risk factor of carrying too much debt from month to month. This hurts people when you do this, because what's going to happen is that when those individuals need to try to refinance or need to try to do something to help themselves to lower their debt, to get out of debt, it's going to make it harder for them because their scoring is going to put them into a classification where they have to pay more for the same things that other people are paying for loans, for credit cards, for cars, for insurance, all of that stuff. This is just a way to be able to get more money out of people. Uh, I wish that they would have never had looked at doing this, because it's actually, from what I've seen over the last few years, it's been able to help people to say they made mistakes, but if it's been a certain period of time, don't keep trying to hurt the person. I mean, how long do we try to hurt people for mistakes or downturns in their lives, loss of income, medical issues? That how long do we try to hold people down? And it seems like now they're trying to flip back over to holding people down. So please like the video. Now let's go into answering some questions. We had a question here from a Lyft driver, and he said 80%. Lyft took 80% of their fees, and they got a 1099 from Lyft for the money that they paid. This is something that you're going to have to discuss with your tax professional or do research. But all of the mileage, you're going to have to itemize, but all of the mileage that you drove, all of the gas, your cell phone, the internet service on your cell phone, everything that you use to perform the duties for Lyft can be written off on the 1099 that they sent to you. The 1099, well, it depending on where you live now, they might send something else, but 1099 is income. They consider it non-employee income, so they're going to get that over to you, and they're going to file that with the IRS, stating that they paid you that money, so they can get the write-off, so they can take it off as income to their business. And you better file that. If you don't file it, what's going to happen is they're going to say that you're trying to hide income that you had coming in. But you know what you should do is all of the mileage, which if you didn't track it during the year with some sort of software or some sort of way to track it, what you can do is request all of the routes that you've ran for people through Lyft, and they probably have something for that you could look at, some sort of records, and then you would be able to add up all those mileages, all of those miles, and you'd be able to write those off. We had another person that went to court, dismissed the case with prejudice, and they said that Kansas laws are crazy. Yeah, I don't know if they're in Kansas, but they went to court, took my the information that I shared on the video, showed up to court, debt collector. It doesn't say if the debt collector showed up to court, but they ended up getting the case dismissed with prejudice. Now, if you remember, when we say dismissed with prejudice, that means it cannot come back again. Done. It's over with. We have another person here. I was only 11 days late, and I contacted the Inside Finance car dealership to let them know when I'd be paying before they picked up the car. They came and repoed the car, and I called to ask how much to get the car back, and they told me never. I would need more information on that, and I'm gonna write and reply to you. I need more information on that, but these in-house finance car dealerships, very lenient on what they're allowed to do. They can take the car if you miss one payment. If there is a weekly or a bi-weekly payment or a monthly payment, they have the right to take the car and cancel out the loan. It's in the contracts. It's in the small print. How do I know this? Number one, we dealt with several customers that have this issue similar to yours. And also, I have a couple of friends that own these types of car dealerships. I have another friend of mine that's starting one, and he has the GPS systems on there where the car will actually not start if they miss a payment. So, and they will know where the car is, and they'll come and pick it up. But they do give the person an opportunity to make the payment on the car. But yeah, uh, this is a big problem because what they're doing is they're exchanging risk. They're saying we're doing you a favor by allowing you to buy a car if your credit is not uh, able to get financed through normal means. They're either in-house financing it or they have a high risk finance company. But what happens with these, and let me just tell you on what happened on the business side, is that when loan companies that deal with high risk uh, companies or high risk credit, they call it I got my notes over here. They call it C and D credit, B, C, D credit, which is lower scoring, subprime type loans. And what they'll do is with some of them, they'll say, well, regardless if the person pays, you don't have to, you don't have to worry about it. We're making a loan. But what I've seen more recently, because what they'll do is if you have too many loans that are not paid, they'll just shut you off, and then that shuts off finances capabilities for the dealership. And so what they'll do is they'll say, well, you're going to have to, we're going to pay you a certain amount of money, and then you're going to get paid payments on the other amount of money. And or they'll say, we're going to pay you the money, but also if something happens, you're responsible to repo it. Or some of the companies are doing a combination of both, where they'll say, okay, we're going to get a certain amount, which is what they usually do is get their money back plus a little bit of profit in the original financing, and then they'll do in-house financing for the rest, where they want to get weekly payments, bi-weekly or monthly payments. But when they do that, they have it expressly written in the contract that if anything happens, they're going to go get the car back. And this is what happens. I'm not an insider, so to speak, on this, but I think logically on this, and what they do is they'll get the car back and they'll look at the condition of the car, and they might say, well, this car is in good shape, we can resell it, rather than allowing them to come back. If the car was all tore up, they would, I'm guaranteed that they would allow you to continue making payments on the tore up car. That's just my logical thinking. I don't know that situation. I'm not saying that that's what they do. I don't want anyone saying that, hey, I'm saying something that's not true. I'm just saying I think that's logical thinking, what I think what could happen. Let's see if we got some other ones. Okay, someone said, what if I don't, whoa, look like I almost lost my recording now. Someone said, what if I don't have to file taxes? I'm disabled. I would double check on that. From my understanding, but I'm not a tax professional or preparer, even if you're disabled, you do have to file taxes. But if you don't have to file taxes, but you do get a 1099-C debt cancellation, yes, you do have to file it and at least uh, uh, let the IRS know your situation and go through the proper paperwork to just have that debt waived. Because what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, you're on disability, but the amount in that 1099-C is additional income to your disability. So you got to be very careful. I would say don't wait and allow something to come back to where they say you owe money on your taxes, when this could be simply dealt with right away if you get with a tax professional and see what you have to do to file that to get that waived, especially because you're on disability. Now let's see here. we had some stuff about the data breach. When I did the video on the data breach, one person said that they got $8.65 back, so we could see that they weren't even giving the whole amount back to people. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I had that video on that, and it talked about where the Russians had. I'm sorry, Chinese hackers. Chinese hackers had hacked into Equifax, and what my thoughts were on that. You can refer to that video if you want to look at it. Um, all right. Well, those are the questions that we had there that I could see right there at that point. And I want to thank you for your time. If you watch this whole video, we're approaching 35 minutes for a video. I want to thank you for watching it. Very good information. Remember your visualization. I want you to start commenting on your visualization, what you're doing each day, that you're doing them, that you're visualizing. Put it into the universe on what you want for yourself. It's not all about just sitting here talking about all of this stuff. We do this to get to what we visualize, which is success and health and prosperity. All right, so please like the video. Please go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. If you don't have your credit reports and scores, remember, everything starts there. Go to the website, link below, the number 3scores.com. Share, post your comments. I always answer them. And make it a great day. Thank you. This is Stephen Williams, founder and president of thecreditrepairshop.com.